Hello, welcome back. We are doing game of Active Directory. We've got our lab set up. If you followed our last video, we've got our 5 machines running, and we've got a Kali box. Again, we're mimicking a situation where you've been called into the organization. You've been given the go-ahead to say, listen, we're gonna put you inside of our network, okay? Bring your tools, bring whatever, and then mimic a situation where the foothold is already established, okay? Now the attacker's inside our network, okay? Now we just want you to do the assessment. So a typical penetration testing methodology would involve planning, reconnaissance, scanning, and vulnerability assessment. That's the fun part. Exploitation, and then you go on reporting. You're telling the people what is it that you have found, and then the organization takes your report, and then off they go to do some mitigations. We're not doing any of that. This is a lab. We're just going to concentrate on the fun part. Okay, we're just going to be concentrating on doing the scanning. Okay. In Active Directory, it's very unlikely that you're going to be scanning and looking for, one of those easy to use vulnerabilities that you're just going to download off the web. Yes, some organizations that haven't started with their cybersecurity program may be that far behind, no patching and of any kind. And then yes, you might be able to use some of the vulnerabilities, some of the exploits that you may find on the web, to compromise a machine. Here we're just looking at misconfigurations. That's what we're looking for. This lab, it may have a few of those easily exploited services, but we won't know that until we start scanning. Okay, so let's get going. We're ready to play. All right, so let's remote into our Kali box. All right, we are ready. The first thing we need to do, of course, is to access our Kali box. What I have in front of me is some notes that I have made when I did the initial enumeration. These notes are available on GitHub. Okay, so they're just going to help me. They're just going to help us, or they're just going to help me explain what needs to happen. Okay, so I'm just going to pull them up here just to help me as a guide. Okay, so I use Obsidian. If you clone this whole let me just go show you. Nope, I think I'm simply that person there. You go to repositories, and then you should be able to see the write-up over there. Okay, so once you clone this and you use Obsidian, your notes should be able to look like mine. Okay, so I'm just showing you the notes that I'm using. Okay, anyway, let's not jump ahead. Let's try and access the machine for now. So we go SSH. Nope. Okay, so these are credentials to access the Kelly box. Okay, just to show you what's going on. The reason I'm using from Windows is so that I can have easy access to my Obsidian. I have installed Obsidian from my Windows box. I'm primarily a Windows user, even though I am comfortable in Linux, but I tend to do a lot of my work in Windows, and so Windows has made it easier over the past few years to access, the a Linux box via SSH, so I don't need to be running primarily a Kali like that. Okay. All right. So I'm just showing you. So basically, I've just run SSH to access that Kali box over there. Okay. So when you see me running some commands here, I am basically inside the Kali box. I'm basically in here. Okay, I'm basically in here. I'm basically in there. Okay, this is where I am. All right. Okay. All right. So the first thing you do when I dropped into a network like this is to, of course, identify what's your IP address. Okay. So on this particular box, if you followed the initial videos, you will remember that we had two interfaces. The one interface is the one that's sitting on the same network, or say sitting on the same subnet as the Kali boxes. Here I manually added another interface so that from my Windows box I can just drop onto Kali sitting over there. Okay, so what that's telling you is that our GOAD network, our game of Active Directory, is on this network here. Okay, that's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to be practicing. In any assessment, you and the client is going to tell you that the scope. When you hear about the scope of the test, they're talking about where you are limited. You will be limited to scan within a particular network range. In this case, our network range is that one there. Okay, so now what does that mean? So that means when you do your scanning, okay, you are going to limit your scan to that particular network range. Okay, all right, so we begin our scanning. Right, so where are we? Let me just make sure there are no other files lying around. No, there are no other files lying around. What I may want to do is to create a directory called Nmap. Okay, so I've done that. So now I run the command Nmap. All right, -T4. That is a very aggressive scan. Then I tell it 192.196.56.0.2. Okay, and then I'm just going to say just do that initial scan and then send it off to the initial scan dot txt. Okay, so we're going to let it do that. All right, and then it is done. Okay, so where is it? Let's be nice and neat and let's move it to our Nmap folder. Okay, let's change it to Nmap. Is our file there. I have clearly not moved anything. Let's move our scan to Nmap. As it is moved, we go in there. Nmap. Thank you. And there's our initial scan. We can see that our file has got a file size of almost 3K. And then we can have a look at what's inside. We can see that there's a lot of information, and for now I just want to identify the hosts that are on this network. And I notice that each host, okay, for every host, Nmap will always begin the report for that particular host with the string scan report 4. So if I want a nice list of those IP addresses, I'm just going to say cat that file, but please, I just want to grab 4 scan report 4 so that I can get a nice list like that of IP addresses that I need to scan for. Okay, now what's going on here? So we've got how many hosts that are reported. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many is it? 8. Yeah, we've got a nice list of hosts that we're going to be scanning. But if you were a part of the build of this project, you will identify that these 5 here are the computers that make up our Active Directory. That over there, I can tell you it is the VirtualBox switch, so we don't need to be messing around with that particular one. That over there is the DHCP server that has been switched on, so that if people are going to be dropping boxes inside the virtual box environment like this, as an example, I was thinking about adding an additional box over here. I don't have to manually give it an IP address. There will be a DHCP server running within this network, and it will get an IP address automatically. Okay, so let's go back to this list. I said that one there is the VirtualBox switch. That there is a DHCP server. And I believe that one over there is the IP address that's been given to our Kali box. Now I know we have access to this computer as .120. If you recall how I have accessed this box when I did my initial Nmap session, that was the interface that is facing the network where I'm sitting at. This is the DHCP server that's been given to the other network card. We can just go in there just to verify. There's our Kali box. Let's show, and if you run IPA, to tell you that's the IP address that we used to access it from the Windows machine, and that's the internal, that's the lab network IP address that we use, or that obtained the DHCP address. Can I zoom in here so that you can see what I'm talking about here? I believe, I don't know the key sequence here. I think I should have better done it in terminal. If I run a similar command IPA, and I zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So oh no, I need to run terminal there. Yeah, so if I run IPA there, and I zoom in here a little bit, I don't know why it's not zooming in. There you go, it's zooming in. Now you can see, yeah, there you go. So that one there is the one that we use to access the Kali box from the Windows machine. That one there is the DHCP address that VirtualBox gave to Kali. Okay, so then we'll only be concentrating our efforts with those IP addresses over there. Okay, all right. So now we've identified our hosts, we've identified the computers that we're going to be scanning. The next thing that we're going to do is to run Nmap. Now I have already prepared the Nmap command. I'm just going to copy here and explain. What the command does. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to copy the command from here. All right. So Nmap is the command that we're going to use to do some scanning. Okay, the command is called Nmap. It's got some switches, so it's got some flags. Okay, SC, I believe it means use all scripts that are available to Nmap to do some basic enumeration. SV will tell you whatever the service that you discover, I want you to tell me what is the version of that service that you've discovered. This is the IP address of the machine to be scanned. And here it's a switch that says give me all output formats, and whatever the scanned result, please save it on a file called Nmap services, and so that I can tell the scanned results from one host or the other. I just make sure that the file name matches as much as possible the target host that I am scanning. So there you go. Now this takes a while to run, and that's part of the reason why we are sending the output of that scan to a particular file. Okay, so you're going to be running this. You're going to let it do its thing, and this one is nearly done. There you go, it's done. Okay, so we will talk about all this information that is being thrown back at us. I can just mention it briefly that Nmap will tell you, usually the first column, it will tell you, listen, this is the port number that I've discovered open, and this is the service that is running. Okay, so over there we see that one is a DNS. That one there is a port 80 associated with a web service or any web pages or any websites that this particular host will be running. they'll be fine over there, and a whole host of other services. Okay, so this is very useful information to an assessor because you can see what service is running on which port. Okay, so for now, I don't want us to dwell too much into the content of the report. I just want us to get our initial information done. Okay, so we're going to be repeating the same Nmap scan for the next 4 hosts. So for now, that's all I want us to do for now. Okay, let's do it for 11. Alrighty, so we do the same for 12. All right, there's 2 more boxes to scan for. And finally, we do for 23. That one went very, very quick. Okay, so what have we done? So far, we were drop onto the network. We identify the subdomain, and we discover that a subdomain is 192.168.56.0. That's the network in which the Kelly box is running. And what we did was to have a look around to say, well, what computers are around me? Okay, we ran that T command. Let me just scroll back to it. I'm sitting on the wrong folder. We ran that command, and then it gave us the number of hosts that we're on. And then we identified what each host is for, and having identified that these are the 5 computers that are in scope, and then we ran the nmap command. Okay, so for now I just want to end the video there, and then we'll do the analysis on the video that's coming. I want to thank you so far for having watched. If you find this video useful at all, please do like it and subscribe, and tell as many people as possible about this video series. Thank you. I will catch you on the next one.